or have the same perspective. What's up, guys? It is your girl Sarah from Sarah Styles here, where data empowers true potential and I show you the power of your numbers. We probably won't be talking much data. I mean, maybe we will, but the purpose of today's video, every single Monday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard, I have like a reseller accountability call. Any reseller is welcome to come on. I'm thinking this year I might extend it out to like an entrepreneur type of call and have some other types of people on too. So drop notes in the comments if you guys want to see some other type of entrepreneurial. Did I say that right? Entrepreneurial? Hard word. If you guys want to see some other, kind of branch it out a little bit. But this is my Monday call. It's accountability for me as much as just learning and chatting and talking with others as well. I never realized that I missed a staff meeting until I wasn't in corporate America anymore. And connecting, and you guys are all my coworkers. So today I have Tori and Shannon on, but if you guys ever do want to come on, this is open to anybody who wants to. Just send me a DM. If you don't feel comfortable on camera, feel free to join me every single Monday in the comments or watch the replay and leave your comments down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like content like this, a weekly call like this. And then I also do reseller content focused around your numbers, mainly how to use your numbers to meet your reselling goals on PoshMark, eBay, and other various places. That's my spiel. While we wait for people to hop on, Tori's been on here before, but if you guys don't know her, I'll let her introduce herself, as well as Shannon, who I know from Instagram, but she's actually never been on my channel, so I'm excited to talk with her as well. So I'll go ahead and let Tori introduce herself.
Yes. Hey, y'all. I see a few of you that I recognize. I don't know why I'm waving at my screen. Like, hi, you can see me over here. But hello, I am a small business owner. I have been selling on Poshmark since, I say it like every single day, April of 2018. I have a YouTube channel. I'm growing my Instagram channel. I make handmade goods. Essentially, Sarah and I met because she loves data and I love data, and we just like immediately connected like this. Yes. So that's kind of just my quick little spiel. It's not too in depth, but me in a nutshell.
Yeah, we'll get there. And you can see, I love that Girly Girl Styles Hubs is on. Bill, so that's Tori's husband, Bill. They have a channel together. Both of them, sometimes just Tori, sometimes. But they're one of my absolute favorite couples in general, but definitely reselling couples. They keep it very transparent. Tori was the reason that I started showing my numbers a little bit more, because I learned so much from Tori. And I think it's hard to talk about it and not actually see what it means. I don't want people comparing to me, which is why I was nervous to do it. But I think it is helpful. And I find I've watched a lot of resellers that are putting out their numbers for the year. And I just think it's really helpful to kind of see how other people gauge and kind of where you're doing and learn from others. And if you kind of always just talk in this, space of you don't actually know what it is, and I think it's hard. So Tori has been very instrumental in my YouTube and just in growth. And her and Bill are just amazing. They donate, is it 100%? It's 100%. 100% of their proceeds go to charity.
Yes, for last year. For this year,
yeah.
We're still going to match it, but we're changing it, for business purposes, doing
right.
But still, yeah, for 2020, yes. It wasn't much. I'm wrapping up my video today. That's what I was working on before this. So okay. Yeah, so our how much we made will be up soon. But yeah, it is all going to it went to all different charities throughout the year is what we were doing.
And you did a couple extra charity events too, like I took place. I can't talk. It's Monday with kids. I was part of, that's probably the easier way to say it, one of the ones that you did giving something away. So you guys are just really big into giving back. And obviously it's your business. So you taking some money for yourself to like pay your bills, like that's fine, Tori. But you guys give back. And I reached out to you too, because eBay has a charity, like you can just directly go to charity. And that's kind of one of my goals this year is to just have eBay do it, right? Like not me have to keep track of it. You can automatically do it on eBay. So we were chatting a little bit about that. I just love Tori and Bill. So after this, head on over to Girly Girl Styles and make sure to subscribe over there. Shannon, I met you guys did with Michelle, and a couple weeks ago I had on, oh my God, I cannot think of her name. Mun and Me Fashion.
My take. Yeah.
I can see her face. I can see her logo. I had her on a couple of weeks ago, but you guys put together this amazing, or you were part of this amazing, crafting type fair online because it was COVID. And so people weren't able to do that with the handmade stuff. So that's kind of where I started to see you, but I'm excited to chat a little bit more, learn more about your handmade business and everything that you're into. So let us know who you are.
No, and thank you for having me. This is really exciting. So I'm newer in the community. I just celebrated my 1 year on PoshMark, and I guess you could say technically reselling, but when I first started, it was, me listing just my shopping-aholicness on PoshMark. I really got on it because I've been making jewelry and home decor and accessories for a really long time, and I was looking for something that wasn't Etsy to put my items on. And so I listed a lot of my stuff, and I do a lot of like jewelry, handmade items, and then I got feedback. Well, nobody's coming because PoshMark's really not really about handmade items, but they will buy it. You just need to have other items there. And so then I started listing, and then I just I fell in deep and started reselling and got the bug, and I love it. It's so much fun. I wanted to go to school for fashion design, so this is really sort of brought in that just vibe and feeling into my life. And then I love upcycling and recycling and just making sure that things get used and used well. And the reason you throw them away is because they just cannot really be used for anything else. And it's just awesome because you get to find things, make them into something new, repurpose them, and make someone else happy in the process. And that feeling is amazing. And so I just want to keep building. And that's what I'm trying to do with my business and Shangri-La Handmade.
It's so ironic because I don't plan who comes on these at all. It just kind of happens. Whoever sends me a DM, or like I saw some stuff with Tori and I was like, hey, I have a spot. You should come on this week. But Tori is totally into upcycling. So I saw her face light up and I'm like, okay, well, that's what we're talking about this time. Obviously that's going to have to happen. So it's so funny how we don't know you guys don't even know each other, and there's always something in common that we have to talk about.
That's so cool.
Yeah, let's get into it. You guys are both so you're both on Etsy, but then you're both on PoshMark as well. And it's curious to me because I used to do upcycle pre 3 children at home, and I don't have time to do it. So I have a strong passion for it as well. I just don't have time for it, but I don't know that I would have thought to put it on PoshMark or that it does well. So talk to me. I mean, and both of you guys talk to me a little bit about how it does on PoshMark. How do you market it? Like, how do you get it? Because Etsy for sure, right? Like that's where you go. But let's talk a little bit about it on PoshMark.
Well, I'd like to know, Shannon, what are you selling on PoshMark? So that's specifically because my experience is probably going to be a little different from yours. From what my upcycled clothing tends to do well. It gets a lot of attention. That is great because it's clothing items. Upcycled, I do custom mask work. I do custom embroidery. I do things like that. That is definitely harder over on, because it's very specific and it's custom. But yeah, the upcycled clothing I see to do pretty well.
Yeah. So like this, for example, is upcycled. This was found on it just when I was actually thrifting, and then was able to, I created a necklace to go around. This is like the centerpiece. So I sell a lot of upcycled material. I just did a craft tutorial on another show recently. And I showed people how to do dipped glass. To like repurpose, I don't know about you, but I burn candles. I love burning candles, and I end up with all these votive holders, and I don't want to just recycle the glass because it takes a lot of energy to do that. And so I'm always looking for ways that I can repurpose. And so I had, old nail polish, I had old glass, and then, together, and those are all actually on my Instagram page. And so what I've kind of learned, by the way, very beginning stages here, right? I'm just going to say that outright. But like what I'm starting to learn is how to kind of leverage the different places together. I've not cracked the Etsy code yet. I'm working on that one. I'm still figuring that one out. PoshMark has actually been good for me. And I have been able to sell custom pieces through PoshMark, but using Instagram. So as I'm using Instagram, people can go see my portfolio in PoshMark, and then they can buy it from me through PoshMark. And then if there's, if there's something I have listed on Instagram, or if it's just directly because they contact me first in Instagram, and they want to do something custom, then I can actually work with them directly through that platform. And so that's how I'm starting to build my clientele. I've had jewelry. I've been, working on trying to figure out how to do this for a long time. And what I'm just finding is I was going to do parties like trunk shows and those kinds of things, because what I've gotten a ton of feedback on is that the pictures are pretty, but it's not the same as when you see, for example, the glass that I've made. The pictures are pretty, but like when you see it in person, it's just a whole different experience. So I'm trying to learn to do videos. But I wanted to get that in-person experience, but we can't do that right now, right? So I'm learning really how to try to leverage the social media where you can do that interaction with human to human, and that's why I'm also doing a giveaway right now where I'm going to start doing my own content sessions where I work with different people who come on and I do a like custom piece for them. And then they get a gift in terms of that piece of jewelry that I'll do for them in the show if they come on. And then people get to start seeing like what it means to have something either upcycled for them or to have something made for them custom. And so that's kind of like what I'm doing.
Yeah, and the work that goes behind it too, because I found when I was doing it, and that's honestly part of the reason that I stopped doing it, is the time that you spend on it. No one was wanting to pay the money. I started just reselling, and I was like, oh, I don't have to spend 3 hours and then charge 7 times the amount to actually make up for my time. I can just buy something and sell it, right? And also I have 3 kids, and sewing with needles isn't really great for them. But that was something that I was struggling with, is finding people, and I think it's probably getting a little bit better now as a new generation is more interested in sustainability and doing, supporting small and local. Tori, and I was noticing too, when I was doing a lot of Etsy, it was sales were driven a lot by social media. And I know you have a YouTube and Instagram. Do you find that's the case as well? Or do you get Etsy's amazing because they give you the stats. Poshmark does not, but Etsy gives you the stats on where your traffic is coming from.
Yeah. Social media, 100%. For me, and my Etsy store is closed right now. So I actually closed at the end of the year. I'm on hiatus. I'm not closed down permanently, but I was having that same thing where I was creating, I was doing all this custom work. I was spending all this time on embroidery pieces, and there were just people weren't buying it, and I understood that. It was a passion project. I did it, and I was just getting to that frustrated point where I'm like, I don't want to keep hounding people on social media. But here's the cool thing. I put my shop on hiatus, and then I had people still coming back because people were getting their products and they were putting it on social media. And then someone would come to me and say, hey, I saw this. And so I still was able to get sales at the end of December, but it was from customers sharing their items online and saying, hey, how awesome was this? And then TikTok, of course, because I show what I'm making over on TikTok and Instagram. But it felt really good because, I definitely saw that slowdown in just what was happening at the end of the year. So Etsy, I'm still planning to open it back up. And Shannon, you should take the plunge. One of the things you said that stood out to me was, people can't really interact with the item, but on Etsy, they have that video built into the listing. And I think that makes certain things just, pop a little bit better. You can show it what it looks like in the light. So I really enjoy Etsy, but it takes a lot of time. And, I have a full-time job that takes a lot of my time. And so, I just didn't really have the time for Etsy for sure. But social media, 100% to say it is you have to have presence on social media to drive sales.
Yeah. So, this is where we're going with this. I'm thinking about like all these questions as you guys are talking. I don't necessarily do it, but I think it's really good content to talk about. And I've done it in the past, is this upcycle and how to leverage social media, how to crack that Etsy code, how to make money selling your handmade things. So let's get into it. I'm going to ask all the hard questions. Not all the hard questions, but because you guys have mentioned, and I know too, it was hard for me. How do you make it worth your time? Because you want people to buy it, and so you want to keep a reasonable price, but then you also have to make it worth your time. And as much as you guys are willing to share, you don't have to give away all your secrets or get into, well, Tori, I know you talk about your money, but, you know, just helping people that are like trying to get in it, that might be watching this and just getting really frustrated with, hey, I spent 3 hours on this piece and people don't want to spend more than $20 on it. It cost me $10. I'm now making, you know, 4 cents an hour or whatever it is. That was not the right math, but you know what I mean?
Not far off though.
No, right? And it is. And so how do you, I mean, I think I've seen quite a few content creators doing content around, I mean, Shannon, you mentioned it, like, I'm going to build this. I'm going to show you what it takes behind the scenes to make this. And maybe you can see some value in it. But other thoughts that you guys kind of had to make it worth your time so that you are, I mean, it is your passion, but then also being able to make some money on it.
I think so. For me, I'm not profitable yet from a handmade standpoint. It's more of a passion. It's like me being a maker. It's not like it's just a drive. It's something that I'm driven to do, and I'm happiest when I'm doing it. I always call it the Zen zone. It's like when I am in that flow state is when I'm making. And so if I don't find ways of making, especially experimenting, I love trying new things and, you know, figuring out how to do something new. So I have to figure out how to carve out moments of time to do that for myself. So what I've sort of made peace with, I'm a little less attached to making like huge amounts of profit on what I make. For me, it's more about that feeling you get when you make, and then being able to give that energy to somebody else, and then seeing their energy in return, like their happiness, their joy of when they get something that they understand and appreciate, for me is just sort of worth it. And then also the upcycling piece, what you get in terms of that additional is that you know that you prevented something from, you know, going into a landfill or clogging the ocean or, you know, doing something of harm to the world, and instead is giving joy to somebody else. And so I haven't, you know, we are not in a place yet where people are fully understanding like the value of things. Like we are still very much in a, you know, pay the least amount of money possible for whatever you can get. I mean, I can't compete with, you know, the Sheins and the Wishes of the world. They can sell jewelry for 50 cents a piece. I can't do that. And I start to question the human beings that are being made to do that. Are you thinking about like how those things are actually being sourced sometimes? And, you know, you have to kind of think about the cost trade-off and what it's doing in the world. And so for me, yeah, you don't necessarily make your time back, but then you also know that you're doing something good for people and you're doing something good for the world. And for me right now, that is in some ways good enough.
And I feel like, I mean, we're slowly getting there. I have been upcycling since high school. And so to date myself, like 20 years. And 20 years ago, it was like absolutely not really a thing. You know, people were like thrift stores, ooh, gross. Like, why are you doing this? But I feel like, I mean, PoshFest, they had, I can't remember the speaker. I know, Tori, you might remember her. We talked about it. The speaker at PoshFest about, you know, sustainability and like the drive, you know, she was a speaker at PoshFest.
Not really.
Yes, thank you. I can see her face again. I'm terrible with names, clearly. Hi, we have a special guest.
Too.
And so I feel like it's slowly getting there. And I know, Tori, you've been I know you've been reselling for a while. Have you been doing upcycling and handmade stuff as long? Are you noticing kind of a change in that direction?
No, it was, so I got back into making during the pandemic. So I'm like you, when I was younger, I used to upcycle and I would sell at the buy sell trade store. I would consign and I would sell my items, you know, around. And that was back in like the early 2000s, late 90s. So that's when I was really into that, you know, same with thrifting and all that. But I found that during the pandemic, I got reconnected with my, you know, my roots. And so just like you, Shannon, you said it's your Zen zone. And that's what I'm finding is when I sit down to do an embroidery project that's going to take me a few hours, I'm not counting my time. I'm not thinking about it as like, oh, because my day job, I will tell you, I mean, I'm never going to get there. Maybe I'll get there, but I'm not going to get there with my handcrafted items. So I'm thinking of it more as that, okay, I'm making something that is giving me peace. I'm not on social media. I'm not stressing out. I'm just working on this. And then I'm giving that piece of art to another person who is going to get that joy inside as well. So this is more like not money making. That's kind of the way I look at my handcrafted items, not really money making so much. However, I am building a brand. And I think that's the other thing is your artists do this, right? They start off and they may not be like painters. They're not going to ask as much, but as their brand builds and as their recognition starts to form, then people will pay for what they, the name and the brand recognition.
Yeah. We can get a one-of-a-kind piece from, Girly Girl Style. It'll be worth a lot. And I think you guys are making me, can you see my sewing? That's my sewing machine, and I have a serger behind, and you're making me want to like get back into it. My daughter's been obsessed with it. And we did a couple of masks this year because she's like, I want to make all the masks and sell them. And then we did it with my 6-year-old. And after like an hour and 2 masks, she was like, I'm done. I was like, okay, well, you're not going to make millions on the 2 masks. But mine is having to do it with a 2- and 3-year-old who are wanting to like, put needles everywhere. I was like, oh, I do kind of actually miss this. Maybe in a couple of years when they're a bit older, it's not as stressful. It's definitely, I think most artists feel that way. It is kind of passion and just letting out that kind of energy.
And Sarah, I took a break too. Like my daughter's now 7 and a half. There was a long hiatus for me in terms of being able to do much of anything from a crafting standpoint until my daughter got to at least a little over 5. Because there's an investment there with the little ones.
Yeah. And my daughter is 6, and she's actually, she's going to be an entrepreneur. She already has like all these wild ideas, and for a 6-year-old, she follows through pretty well. But my 3-year-old is just wild. Like that's the best way to put it. He's just wild. And you just can't leave him alone for periods of time. And so maybe in a couple years, I do want to check in with the chat. I realize we're 20 minutes into this. I've been so enthralled with our conversation that I have forgotten to check in with the chat. So mine is saying hi to Bill at the very beginning. So Duncan is here. Oh, Duncan, you changed your profile. I don't like when people change their profile pictures. I don't like it. No one is ever allowed to do it because then I don't know who they are. Michelle is here. Welcome, Michelle. She's saying, oh, I almost forgot. Good thing I'm tied to the computer all day because I saw the red message alerts. Welcome. A cubit. What is that?
A wee bit worn.
Thank you. Okay. I've seen that so many times. I know. She follows your channel, right? I've seen her name.
She's one of my best friends. She's one of my like family. We're family. We're like this.
Love it. Did she do the fundraiser thing with you?
She was one of the founding members.
Yes. Okay. I was like, I've seen her name frequently. Welcome. We already said hi to Bill. Bill is here. Happy New Year, everyone. Yes. Happy New Year. It's like 3 days ago. That's old news now. What's up? Verona. See, I'm terrible at names. How would you say this one? Veronica. Yes. Yeah, that's totally how you would say it. See, but so I know her on Instagram as well. And in my head, I always say her Veron. But it is absolutely Veronica. You're right. I'm glad you're here, Tori. If you want to just moderate my YouTube.
I could be totally wrong. I'm just like
No. It makes sense. But I thought it was like split up.
No, and I'm the same. I was like trying to pronounce that too, and I couldn't figure it out. So
thank you for making me feel better. They're having some off conversations. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. I think Michelle, they're having an off conversation. Duncan saying, and I think this is valid. He does like postcards or stamps, one of the two on eBay. Glad I niched on eBay. The customers come to me. And so I think it's a similar concept. Like you're building that brand where eventually, even though you were on vacation mode, Tori, people were coming to you. And I think you definitely get that more with handmade items because people love it. They want to post about it. They want to tell people. When someone buys, something else on Poshmark, use something that you found, it's not nearly as excited to say, hey, look what I found. Daniela's here. We love Daniela. I don't have a wig on, Duncan. Get it together. This is my hair. Chelsea's here. Hello, Chelsea. Welcome. Drama Free Mama. Welcome. We've had her on before as well. Okay, I think we're caught up. If you guys see questions in the comments too, I know you're tracking them.
I'm trying to. Yeah, it's just I don't want to seem rude, so I'm like glancing over and then glancing back. I'm like,
no, you're fine. I totally know what you're doing, and I appreciate it because obviously, I go 25 minutes in, and then I'm like, oh yeah, we have a comment. Okay, so we're talking handmade items. Etsy for sure. You guys are Poshmark at Etsy. Where else are you selling? Handmade items and other things as well, I guess.
For me at PayPal, I mean, again, social media. So it's really that word of mouth. Someone will see something, and then PayPal. For the year, I will tell you, just because we're talking transparency. So I sold a total of 68 handcrafted items. And these are the ones I sold. We made like over 300 because, you know, we gave a ton of masks away. Yeah. But 68 total items, handcrafted items sold for about $1,300. So that was our total, or my total for last year for handcrafted. So that was mostly word of mouth. That was not people coming, finding me on Etsy or anything like that. It was just social media. So it makes a difference.
Do you have, because I know you have a website, because I've bought like charity shirts there, but do you sell stuff on, like, have you thought about a Shopify or selling it? If you're getting so many from word of mouth, Etsy's fees are really low. So it may be still worth it to do it on Etsy, but yeah. I'm wondering if.
Well, that's where I keep going back and forth, because with Etsy, you have the built-in foot traffic. And if I bring extra people from social media, but then other people can, you know, show up, then that's kind of where I am. But the reason I closed is because my shop was also vintage and handmade. And with my, you know, brain, with my ADHD brain, with all these things, I couldn't wrap my head around having both in the same place. I'm like, you know, vintage and handmade, even though they do kind of go hand, I needed them separated. So I just got overwhelmed. But I think Etsy.
But you can have like different like categories.
You can, but it's still all managed under one. And I just, you know, I just overwhelmed myself. I just had to take a break from it.
And it is all sort of mixed in with each other. So it's hard to kind of, you can create categories, but then people have to want to filter on those categories. So it does kind of blend in. But I've been thinking about actually just moving my vintage into Etsy with my handmade items. My challenge is I need to get people to actually buy things from Etsy. But I think you are right. The social media is very much because of the word of mouth, how I've been able to be successful there. Yeah. And Poshmark, it's interesting. You build this community, this word of mouth from a handmade standpoint also, which is, I think, one of the ways that we get sales there as well.
Yeah, it would be amazing, Poshmark, if we could have that data. But that's a topic for another time. Etsy, I mean, the thing too with driving your traffic to Etsy, you have another level of security. And I'm sure your guys' items are amazing and you never have any, you know, complaints or anything. But it is nice for people that are watching this. If you're selling exclusively on your own, you are on the hook. You absolutely should have an LLC in place to make sure, because if someone comes after you and you're selling on your site, they are coming after you. If you're selling on Poshmark, eBay, you know, and all of these other platforms, you have an added level of security, as well as them doing all the back end stuff. I have my own website, and I will tell you, it is a pain in the butt. It's nice, and I've done it for digital content, but I won't put my clothes and stuff on there because it's just I'll pay 20%, even on Poshmark, I'll pay 20% for you to do all of that. Send me the shipping label. So, like, it is kind of a pain. But I was just wondering if you guys are doing so many, it's just easier for you. Do you send them to Etsy, or do you just do like a direct PayPal invoice type of thing?
I'll typically do just direct for me. At first I was having people go to Etsy so I could get some reviews because I wanted to make sure I was getting sales to build that up, and then having them put that there. And then I realized, you know, that was inconvenience for them. I didn't want to inconvenience people. So I started doing directly to PayPal. I've had, I think, 30 or 50 sales on Etsy. So, I mean, I still did well, but I like the PayPal option as well, especially like with a mask, with an embroidered mask or something that's really small. It's so cheap to ship. I know I can pack it really well, and I trust that no one's going to sue me. I'm a sole prop. So for me, yeah, as soon as you were saying that, if you have your own site, now you're open up to all kinds of I'm like, yeah, I'm just a sole prop. So yeah, still.
I am not. I'm going to take a step back. Talk to an accountant, talk to a lawyer for your own. I am not that person. Just for my own personal.
The platforms do take care of a lot of just the the business back end pieces that are really, really nice. I also will do direct on Instagram, mostly because I've learned that when I try to point people back to the platforms, they get lost or it's just too heavy of a lift. And unless, it's just, I found people that don't already have accounts, then there's just a lift for them to sign up and, get an account. So I'll do direct from, I use PayPal, right? So direct from Instagram, and that works well in a lot of ways. But for being able to point people to like a portfolio to show, like to be able to, have your items listed in a place to give people an idea of what you do, I find, Etsy as well as PoshMark to be really valuable for that. I've actually sold quite a bit of in the last year. I haven't done my numbers, which I know both of you are probably like, I haven't done my numbers.
You do.
For how much of that has been handmade, but I'm just kind of doing the math in my head. I haven't done shabby actually in selling handmade items on Poshmark. It's notable in terms of how many of my handmade items have actually sold on the platform, and some of them people just found it and then like handmade items, and then we start a conversation, and then nobody's just sort of bought, on the most part, anything handmade outright, except for like when I bleach dye clothes or I upcycle clothes or those kinds of things. Those will definitely just sell. But the jewelry, it's like, again, people will connect with you. They'll ask, is this handmade? And, a little bit about the sort of your process. And there are people who really like appreciate handmade items, but they do come. They've come and found my handmade items just right through Poshmark that I didn't have to, bring over from social.
Well, and I think the nice thing too is then it gives you, for people that don't know you, you have a rating in there. You can have your shipping times. So they can know that like, okay, I'm not just going to pay this person $30 and not ever get it. And maybe over time as you build, people will start to trust, or like they've bought from me before, their friend or whatever. But it is kind of innate and a way for someone else to maintenance it. It is on the back end a lot of work to do all of that. There is a reason that these sites charge fees. A lot of it too is the marketing. I don't know if you guys saw the IPO release or watched Amber's video. Amber Resell did a video on the IPO. She read all 200 pages. So thank you for doing that video. If you guys haven't watched it, I recommend watching it. But the amount, I don't remember, but the number that they used on marketing alone last year was like outrageous. Not outrageous. It gets us all business, right? But that's, if you have your own site, you're now having to do all of that marketing. On that note, I want to talk about the marketing, and let's talk about, you've talked about social media, but let's get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty. What types of things are you doing? Tori, I know you model, because you do vintage too, but you model a lot of your clothes. You mentioned TikTok. You have a YouTube. Let's give some people some ideas of, I'm starting this handmade business. I want to create a brand. I want to reach out. How do I even start? What do I do?
Yeah, I will just say, show people what you're doing. And I think, Shannon, you were saying you do this too. And I think for me, showing people like on TikTok how I make something. So I'll do a 15-second video or second video just showing what I'm doing. Like, here's a quick way to make fringe, or here's a quick way to make a mask, or here's how you do this stitch from beginning to end. And it's 15 seconds. But then people get interested and they'll ask questions. And then maybe, on Instagram, because I'll upload it to Reels. So with social media, my Instagram right now is a mess because it will not let me access music. So I don't record any Reels on Instagram. So I do everything on TikTok and then move it on over. But I think just showing what you're doing. And then also I show shipping. And I show putting the package together. I show, that love that goes into it. That, okay, so you're not just getting something that I threw together. You're going to get this. You're going to get a handwritten note. You're going to get something adorable. Like, that's kind of the experience. I'm showing an experience. And then just really being open with what I'm doing. I think for me, that makes a big difference with handmade. And then, with vintage, styling is something that I've always been passionate about. So styling the items, I think, helps them sell, which is another area of my business that I'm going to explore this year, by the way. So as we get into 2021, more of the styling aspect, but social media will play a huge part in that.
Are you, because I wanted to, if we have time to kind of ask, I always like hearing what you guys are going to do for the new year, because you always have like a whole business plan. I haven't checked out any of your new videos. Are you released that, or is that going to be your video today talking about your numbers and then kind of your plans for the year?
It's going to be money. Wow. Well, it is money. It's money specific, the number specific, but I haven't done, I took a kind of a hiatus from YouTube. Yeah. Again, mental health at the end of the year, but yes, going into the new year, I'll get something out on what's to come, but this is just going to be more of like the numbers piece of it.
Well, if you want to share anything here, I won't Tori. Brittany joined. If you guys don't know Brittany's going to come on in a few. Brittany actually introduced me to Tori, and this is social media. Why it's amazing is it's networking, right? I met Brittany through, I think it was Tracy, Me, Myself, and Donuts, who I just did a video with, and she was like, hey, you should do an unboxing with her. She's just starting a YouTube channel. And then Brittany was like, hey, you like numbers. Tori loves numbers. So it's all, I mean, that goes into the social media, just connecting and talking with other people. I find that everyone that I've come across, everyone that I've come across on social media is very supportive. I think there can be a dark side of social media. I have yet to find that part of social media. If you put good energy out, I'm a believer that you get good energy back. But I think it's amazing that we have these tools. Like when I did this 20 years ago, it was craft fairs, it was fashion shows. There was no, I had a MySpace page.
Yes, MySpace.
So did I.
But it was not right. It was not what you can do with it now. And it's amazing. I do a quarterly economic update. She was moving. It's with, I am terrible with names today. Kitten Boutique is her name. Why can I not think of her? Anyway, she does a quarterly review. She didn't do it because she was moving. But the last time that she came on, she was really talking about how things are trending into transparency. And I think that's what, and seeing the people behind and people wanting to buy local and buy from actual people instead of these big brands and buy, handmade or sustainability. So I think her thing was like in the next 10 years, it'll get there. I think everything that you guys are talking about is absolutely on point, and it'll slowly start to grow. You're getting in kind of at the bottom floor. Shannon, you have been on it. And that's kind of what social media is. I am seeing you in like all of these different places. And it makes me intrigued. If all of these different people have Shannon on, like, well, I must need to know what she's doing, right? And that is part of social media, being all the places at all times. So tell us all your tips and tricks on your social media and what your kind of strategy that you're willing to share. You don't have to tell us all your secrets, but things that you're willing to share to kind of help people build that brand.
So I think honestly, that's maybe why you're seeing me everywhere. I like sharing. I don't understand sometimes why we keep all of this to ourselves, because things keep changing and progressing anyways, and you're gonna have to learn something new 5 minutes from now and then share that information and then keep going. So that's one of the reasons why Artisan Showcase started. Michelle, which is she's Engineer at Play on Instagram, got us all together, started a little group of artisans and makers to, just get a community together to help figure out how we get through the pandemic, because we can't do craft shows and the bazaars that we would normally be doing. That started, that social network for me, because again, I launched my business this last December. So I'm just 1 year into it now. I was the end of December as well, right in the middle of a pandemic. So it was interesting. So I knew social media was going to have to be it. I was very, not like this before the pandemic. I don't go on lives. I'd never done one before. I have a friends and family page on one platform. It hadn't been on Instagram. So this has all been in the last year that I've built my Instagram page, got onto these platforms, started figuring out how to market and how to do the social pieces. There's a lot of learnings here. It's really about just being authentic, being who you are. I feel like you do have to be a bit of an extrovert to embrace the social piece, and others who are introverts are probably going, that's not true. There's probably ways if you're more introverted to pull it off as well. I just know for me, I just have to put myself out there. And so embracing the fear, taking risks, I jumped on a reel one day and just started dancing and put my first reel on Instagram. And then I was like, well, that was actually kind of fun. And then people started engaging, and I was like, that was a horrible reel, but people liked it. okay, let's try something else. And then really also looking like, girly girl, I'm gonna go stalk you after this, sorry, but going and seeing other people who've
Yes.
done it successfully. Go look at what they've done. And you're not going to get it all at first. Like, I have this woman who I stalk on Etsy, and I watch her and I'm like, she just does it so well. She's got it nailed. And I see her Instagram page and her Etsy page, and like, I'm like, wait, she's doing that here, and she's doing that there. And then it was finally someone else I was talking to in the Artisan Showcase, and she goes, no, that's a plan. She's doing A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and they all go together. And I was like, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. You do the make the item or the source the item. She would do this, here are my sourcing pieces. I'm so excited. They're finally here. And then she would do and here's some of my ideas, right, of what I'm going to make with them. And then she would do here's how I'm making them. And then she would do and here's how they're packaged. And she kind of like had it all broken down into these steps. And then she'd say, live in my page now. And then I was like, oh my goodness, these people are on it. They're not just like going at this in trial and error. They've really figured out systems that work for them, and then they improve on them. And so as I learn, I'm sharing with other people, hey, here's something that I see working for other people. It seems to work well. I'm experimenting with them on my own, and I'm finding like my own, because you're gonna artisan community, you're gonna steal other people's ideas, but you got to put your own twist on it, right? Otherwise you're vetoed from the artisan community. But like, so my twist, right, with me on the lives now is I'm putting my foot out there and I'm trying something, and that's going to be it's called Made for You. And that's me doing the custom work, because what I'm finding is you Tori talked earlier about building your brand. People don't know who I am yet. They're, just meeting me and deciding whether or not, they're going to keep me on the island. And so I want to make things for people. I want to show them like, this is what it means. This is what it means. I'm authentic. I love making things for other people. There is nothing, there are other things in life I love, but there is nothing that hits that part of my creative heart the way it is to make something for someone else and give it to them. And so now I'm going to start doing a video series and my content, like a content generator as well, to do a couple of those pieces, show people what it means to have something handmade, show them the authenticness of me making things for other people, show them that process. And I'm going to start using that as my skeleton, right? My plan on how I'm going to tell that narrative over and over again, so people can start to understand what it's all about. But you got to kind of have that. It's like that skeletal structure on how you start to build everything off of, and then figure out how it tells that whole story. People really like the stories. Yes. And I do.
Yeah. And it's what sets you apart from other people. And that's, I think, one of the amazing things about social media is that you can see the person behind the brand now, right? You can see to whatever extent that they're willing to share, but you can see that person and what they're going through and all of that. And I think that's what people gravitate towards. And so the more that you can do of that, I think that's what really does help, you make that brand. Because if you just show a bunch of pictures of items, okay, that's cool. But what's really going to connect people and say, I want to buy something from Tori is I love Tori and Bill. Like, I will buy whatever Tori throws my way now because I love Tori and Bill for Tori and Bill, right? And Shannon, you as well, right? Like, that's what makes you different from the other person making upcycle, is people are connecting with you. Social media, and you mentioned this, like you only had like a personal Facebook page on one platform. I am the same with social media. I am terrible at it. I'm actually not even a big fan of it. I like it for my business. But if you knew me personally, like my husband or like family and stuff, I like maybe post on my personal. I didn't have an Instagram or YouTube until my business. My Facebook page, my personal Facebook page is like a picture of a kid every 6 months, maybe. Like, I am not a social media person, although I've recently gotten on the TikTok bandwagon, and that's kind of fun. But it's like hit or miss, right? I'm not a social media person. And I'm also, I dated myself, a MySpace generation, right? Like, we didn't have social media when I was, in high school. And so it is a huge, huge learning curve, which I think can be the the younger generation kind of has a one up on people, you know, my age and above, because, you know, I had to learn how to even create a YouTube account. I don't even watch YouTube. So I'm like, I don't even know like what to do here. So it was a learning curve. And just to do a quick promo, I'm talked with Me, Myself, and Donuts. Tracy, I don't know if you guys follow her.
Yeah.
I did an interview with her last weekend. So probably in like 2 months, I'll get it released on YouTube. But talking about, because she really knows her stuff. She was a graphic designer. She grew really quickly on Instagram. And talking to her about like the intricates, like using hashtags and doing filters and all of the things that are going to kind of make you that professional level. This chat is getting, we're almost towards the end. So I don't know that we're going to go into that level of detail, but if you guys want to learn a little bit more about that, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. It will eventually be released. I'm editing it right now.
And she's really good. She and I were actually on the YouTube Level Up Live talking about social media this year. And she has a lot of great information. She and I are both Cobra Kai fans. So she and I constantly chat about Cobra Kai. So she's awesome.
Yes, she is. We did a 2-part series. So one is social media, and then she builds websites for her job. So she knows like algorithms and SEOs. So we talked 1 part Instagram, and then 2-part, SEOs and how to make your listings and stuff. So I'm really excited about it. But, you know, mom life, school starts on Wednesday. So, you know, in a couple of weeks, maybe a month. It'll get put out. So I want to talk a little bit, go back just a step, because we talked about Etsy, and I want to talk a little bit more in detail about how to crack Shannon, you mentioned cracking the code. You haven't cracked the code yet. Mine was getting social media there. I noticed when I was selling, I still sell on Etsy. It's my digital products. And it's social media. That's the majority. I don't try and market it in Etsy though. I just have it sitting there. But if you have any tips, and those that are watching in the chat as well, any tips on Etsy, you know, Tori, you said using the video, but any other tips that you have if you're selling handmade stuff, how you can, you know, crack that Etsy code.
Well, I haven't cracked the code either. I mean, that's the thing, is unless I was really focusing on it. But I will tell you one word that no matter what you're doing, consistency. And that's where I failed. And I always like to just totally admit my failures, because I know that this is important for everyone to learn. But, I thought, I'm going to put it on Etsy and social media is going to help drive. And then people are going to find me and I'm going to get popular. It doesn't work that way. You have to consistently list. And so for me, cross-listing to Etsy, and you know who's really great at that? Brittany, oh my gosh, her one of Etsy store is amazing, and she's always listing new things, and she's always showing her products. And I feel that she is a great person that's going to have some great tips on how to break the Etsy code. I have not, which is why I took a break, because I hadn't had a sale in a while. But I definitely think that consistency, just making sure you're consistent, utilizing the new features as they come out, like video was the new feature there, is going to make a big impact.
Yeah, definitely. And this is any platform. If they are giving you a new tool, they're going to give you added benefits for using it. Instagram started Reels. If you do a Reel, you're going to get more views.
Right? It's so crazy to me. Reels are like exploding right now. And I'm just like, okay, that's great. Thank you.
I know. It's wild. And so now I'm just like doing like ridiculous Reels that I would have just made a post that I made into a video. And I'm the same way. I meant to say this when you were talking about it too. I don't have music on my Instagram either. So I just use TikTok to post to my Instagram. But now I'm seeing growth on my Instagram, and I'm like, or on my TikTok. And I'm like, well, obviously I need to be like a TikTok star now. Clearly. I'm like really starting, like I'm rethinking maybe I should, because I usually just like have an idea for Instagram and go do it on TikTok and post it on there. But now I'm like, it's like working on TikTok too. So maybe I should plan this in all my free time.
Yeah, of course.
Add that to it. Brittany, if you're still in the chat, tell us. Brittany's coming on in a couple of weeks too, so I can ask her some. Brittany's photos and Tori's are amazing. I have actually steered away from modeling because I just was getting grumpy when I was doing it. I was like, I don't want to model today. And so I've kind of steered away from it. And I've actually stopped a lot of vintage. It just wasn't doing well for me during the pandemic. But I love watching, like I will just drool over Brittany and Tori's feeds. They're so pretty. There she is. Tell us all your tricks, Brittany. Veronica, I'm trying to do reels and I'm not great at it. I have no patience for them. It's a little bit of a learning, but I don't know. I find it kind of fun.
I find it fun. But Reels doesn't have the same functionality as TikTok. That's my problem is so Veronica, if you're not on TikTok, just do it. And I'm telling you, just play with it because as someone who loves doing videos anyway, and I do it for my day job, it's just like the tools of making this 15-second video. You have everything at your fingertips to edit, re-record, slow it down. I mean, it is really advanced technology, which is crazy. And then you can just pop that over to Instagram if you're happy.
And the video content gets, just from a number standpoint, from what I've been looking at least 2, if not 3+X engagement than what you actually see and get from the static posts. Wow. So people just, and also too, it too, because you get lost. Like when I go on TikTok, I swear to goodness, I don't know what happens to time. Like I'll pick up my phone, I start TikTok, and then like an hour, 3 hours is gone, and I'll put my phone down and I'll be like, oh, I went on there to post something. Not spend 3 hours of my life watching reels, but it's just these clicks. So
that's what it is. You're like, oh, it's just 15 seconds. And then you're like, well, it's been an hour, 15 seconds added up.
Right. Yep. That's the other thing. It's targeted. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm frustrated because I'm not getting anything. And I feel like with Instagram, unfortunately, that is what happens, because if in your feed is just your followers, like with reels is different, but with like stories, you would get content from, everyone that you're following. It may not be something that you're actually really interested in. You might have just been following someone, if that makes sense. On TikTok, I don't follow a ton of people, but my feed is amazing because it's like, air fryer, ADHD, Harry Potter, like everything you could imagine, just reselling, like all of it.
Yeah, no, and it's good too, because I make reselling content and I follow some resellers, but I don't watch a ton of reselling. I mean, I do some, but I also like to look at other things. And you like 2 videos, I liked 2 like teacher videos, and now I'm getting all these like funny teacher videos that just make me like, their algorithm is, and that's, I think, why I like it too. Cause it's not like going through Instagram or Facebook, especially Facebook, where it's like, I don't care about your political views, grandpa. Like you have to be friends with them. So it comes across, or people I went to high school with, like, cool, I don't really care about that. It's very targeted. It's actually a lot of fun. Someone said something Brittany's saying, my top tip for modeling is you gotta love it and spend time figuring out how to not have a double chin. That's funny. And Brittany has really good tips too. And it never even crossed my mind, and I noticed you do it too, Tori, is having props, right? Like, cause it's always so awkward. You're like, what do I do? But then you have the props and it like gives you, like, it never even crossed my mind, but she mentioned that one of their videos or Instagram or something. And I was like, duh.
It helps sell it too. It goes back to the styling piece. So if someone can see a certain type of bag or like a shoe or scarf or something with it, yes, it's something to do with like your posing, but your angles, but it also is like, oh, and it's for sale too, or, this is how you can make it your own. So yeah, for sure.
And for vintage, 100%.
Sarah, though, too, like you have to kind of love it, right? And I'll bet Tori likes doing it, and she likes doing it. Like, if you don't love it, you start to ask yourself, is it really worth doing it? Because if you're draining, it's back to that Zen zone piece, right? Because if you're draining your energy trying to style and trying to, model the pictures, I don't know, is it worth it? Because I feel like you're going to sell them fine if you do a good flat lay, or if you do a good hanging pose, or if you have a great mannequin, you could probably sell them just as well. The modeling pictures, I think, are always amazing, but there's a very small amount of people who are going to get away with the whole the modeling piece. I feel that's my perspective.
Yeah, it's totally passion. And I'll tell you, I have not had a sale since December 21st. So talking about passion, and yet I spent like an hour and a half this weekend modeling my new finds, even though I'm like, I know that it's probably not going to be super lucrative right away, but it's that love for it, just what you're coming up with. Plus we had sunshine this weekend, so that made it.
Oh, nice.
Well, I enjoy your passion because I do like looking at them, and I love vintage, and I enjoyed modeling the vintage, but my numbers were not leading me in that direction. And so I've actually kind of cut back. I think some of it was maybe the pandemic, and hoping that comes back, because vintage is kind of like I don't know if fancy is the right word, but you know, your outfits, like you put an outfit together and you go to, you know, this hipster bar or whatever it is. It's not really like
you want to be seen, like you want to be right.
Right. And so that's kind of what I'm telling myself about why my vintage. And I also think vintage, like you almost have to niche down in vintage. And I wasn't. I was like 20% vintage and then a bunch of other stuff, which made me not as good of a vintage seller. Because there's vintage sellers that are making it, right? But they know their stuff, right?
Are there a lot of vintage leggings? Like, I don't know. I don't know. So many people are just like living in leggings, and I made a meme the other day on TikTok about that. Leggings, you know, sweatshirts, like it's all the leisure wear right now. So I don't think it's a matter of people necessarily don't love the vintage. I've just been talking to a lot of people, and people are saving as much as they possibly can, and then only really buying like necessities and or the things that bring them that instant joy at that moment. So selling right now is challenging a little bit in general, though I feel like the holidays helped. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing. I feel like the gift cards were in a plenty this holiday season, or I don't know if that was just like people picked it because they couldn't go gift shopping as much as normal, or if this is a normal reselling thing. You guys will have to tell me because it's my first, you know, full year through this, but people have picked up on buying things again.
Well, I think, and I posted on my Instagram today, my weekend was like popping. I mean, it was like ridiculous. And I think, so normally this is only going into my third year, but this Q4 that people talk about, October is usually good, but going into holiday season, especially for thrifted used things, people don't want that. So I usually am down towards the holidays, but then gift cards or, hey, I'm not spending my money on other people, I can spend money on myself now. Coming into first quarter tends to be better for me. And then also keep in mind, we got stimulus checks came out on Friday, and then they'll continue to come out. Granted, it wasn't, you know, there's lots of debate about that topic, but, you know, people are getting extra money. And I think that kind of fed into stimulating the economy like it's supposed to, people spending a little bit more, but it definitely was not like no one bought my, you know, $600 Dior bag that I have for sale. It was like my $10 ideology leggings that people were buying, right? Like that's the times that we're in. I love Drama Free Mama. I made a reel by mistake the other day, and suddenly I had so many views. I thought, oh my, what did I do? Do it again.
I want to know what that reel was of.
I know. I'm excited.
Her name is Drama Free Mama on Instagram as well. So everyone head over there and see what it is. Brittany's saying she doesn't have TikTok, and I don't have music on EJ, so I haven't made any reels. Brittany, seriously, get it. I got it, and I'm late to the game. Everyone's been in it for like a year, but when they said they were getting rid of TikTok or you wouldn't be able to get it again is like the weekend that I was like, oh, well, I should probably get it now. Of course. But I solely used it to post onto Instagram, and then I just happened to post it on TikTok as well. But it's so much easier, and it does. Like my last reel that I did is now at like 15,000 views. My videos normally get like 1,000, right? So like it is worth it. I want you to use it. Definitely do it. Let's see. We are wrapping up. Drama Free Mama. My daughter. Oh wait, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Here you go. Brittany, you're going to have to tell us all your secrets when you come on. I just sold 2 fitted vintage dresses for $130 on Etsy. So clearly people are buying vintage, just not from my closet.
And question with Drama Free Mama, is it drama free _mama? Is it Christine Del Rosario?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. Don't want to follow the wrong one.
Okay. I think we're caught up. I always sold toys, but this year, yeah, she's trying to branch out. So toys probably was pretty big in the Q4. I never really noticed. We are wrapping up. I had a couple other questions to ask, but I think we're not going to get there. So thank you guys so much for joining. I am all about shameless self-promotion as well. So as we wrap up, if you guys are having any sales or, you know, you're trying to promote a new product or whatever it is, feel free to let us know. Let us know where we can follow you. I think it's Girly Girl Stat. Are those your handles everywhere? Or if you guys want to tell us, I will link them in the description. I usually do it before the video, and it was a little chaotic before we hopped on. But once this goes in the recording, I will put it into the description so people can follow you as well.
Yeah, for me, it's girly girl style across the board. Girlygirlstyle.com is my webpage with the landing to everything, just to make it central. Only thing to promote right now, I am making more YouTube videos coming up. How much we made last year should be posted. It should be posted tonight. And then I will be doing a video that I've been promising for 6 months. And Sarah, I think you'll appreciate this one. It is how to figure out cost of goods sold. And this video has been the bane of my existence because I don't want to give incorrect information, but I'm just going to preface it by telling everyone, reach out to your tax accounting professional and I'll tell you what I've learned.
Ooh. Yeah, that is interesting because me and my husband have this conversation quite frequently because he's in finance and we fight about it. We're not like fighting, but yeah, there's so many different ways that can do it. And which is why I've also not done a video or talked so much. I always just say just stay consistent. If you're going to track it this way, then just do it that way all the time. And I don't go any further. It's also the reason that I don't release or make dashboards for finances because I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving that kind of advice.
Exactly. It's informational only to show you what I do. And if you get something from it, great. But this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because there is a lot of different ways to do it. So it'll be interesting to hear. I'm interested. I mean, I follow you, so I'll see the video coming out. Shannon, what's up? Do you have sales going on? I know you have a new line coming out, or maybe
So for Valentine's Day, I actually just posted some new products for Valentine's Day on my Instagram page, and they're live in my PoshMark closet. I'm working right now on getting them cross-listed into Etsy, but they are those upcycled candle holders if you want to check those out. I do have my Candy Love collection that will be coming out in the next week or so, and will be also listed both on Etsy and PoshMark. And I'm also launching mid this month the Made For You sessions on my Instagram page. So those are going to be new too. If you're interested, there is a giveaway posted on my Instagram page, and you can check it out and participate if you want to.
How exciting. That didn't sound exciting. I was reading a comment. That is very exciting. Sorry, I was mid comment reading, trying to maintain. That is really exciting. So you guys definitely follow both of if you're not following them, follow their content. Brittany is saying, I don't do it because I think my CPA has me doing it like most people try to do it. I don't think my CPA has me doing it like most people try to do it. I'm not a CPA. So I'm interested, and good for you, Tori, for putting that out there.
Yeah, well, see, I know my CPA tried to get me to do it wrong. And I was like, I've been doing it for 2 years. If I change it now, it's wrong. So I had to explain to them. So yeah, we had a conversation last year.
Yeah. And from what I'm not going to go down that path. We're at the end of this. We're not going to go down that conversation, but definitely head on over and follow Girly Girl Style so you can see that. Thank you guys all so much for joining. Oh, I did have one question, Tori, if you have a second. I wrote this down really quick because we were talking about Reels and TikTok.
Yeah.
You did something about YouTube Shorts.
Yes.
But I haven't. Is it rolled out?
No, it hasn't rolled out yet. So I did a video on this. Well, I don't even know because I have no time. I have no sense of time.
It was months ago.
It was a while ago. And YouTube, they rolled it out, I think, and again, unless I watched the video, I don't remember. I think it was India first, and it was a test rollout. They haven't rolled it out in the US yet. So they're still planning on it. They're still in the beta phase. I stopped doing YouTube Shorts because I wasn't finding any benefit from it. And it just felt weird putting my same content. Plus, because then I have to try to unbrand the TikTok, and I can't use music on YouTube, and pain. Yeah. But yeah, so keep your eyes open. It's not live yet, but since you're obviously, on YouTube, you'll get notified when it's live.
I just have to pay attention to emails is what you're saying.
Yeah. Or listen to me. I'm sure I'll make a big deal about it when it goes live. So.
I'm sure you'll see everyone, but you won't be able to, because I was just thinking I had some informational TikToks. I mean, it's 30 seconds, but I'm like, oh, that would be good information on YouTube. But you can't. But you can take it out because I've done that on Instagram. Instagram has actually blocked some of my TikToks because of music.
Okay, you guys can't have music because you guys are monetized.
Business accounts don't allow it because of copyright for something. Okay. So I changed it to a creator account, but it still won't reset to give me music back. So.
And I like the analytics. Surprise, surprise. So
analytics.
But there's been, I think it's certain music songs, maybe the ones that I picked.
Probably popular songs.
I don't remember.
Most of mine are what do you call that? Sound lyric lists. They're more music, but then you'll get a notice that says your reel has been placed on so and so's page. because it detects the music, but I haven't had any blocked yet.
Oh no. No, one was like it was like jaw rule. It was like something I'm like what? Yeah, I don't know if it was job rule, but it was something like that I'm like, why is this one being blocked? Like, it wasn't like a new popular. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Anyway, that's how we're ending this. So thank you guys so much for coming on. If you like this content, this is every single Monday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard. We talk, I mean, it's different people every time, so different things come up every time. If you want to join in the video, send me a DM on Instagram and we will set up a time that I have available that works for both of us. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, give me a like on the way out, and saving and sharing also helps the algorithm. So if you like this content and you want to support me, I appreciate you hitting that save button and sharing it. You don't have to share it anywhere, but if you hit the button, YouTube thinks that you're sharing it. So everyone have a good night.
Bye, everyone.